And if you tuned in late today, my very special guest is Marion St. Clair, and she is a garden writer. I think you're very famous. And you bring such knowledge to people about nature and gardening, and this is wonderful because this is something, you're making something that children can get involved in, and feeding the birds.
Right. And, you know, kids love getting their hands dirty, and I've shown you, you know, you can really get your hands dirty with this recipe, but it's an awful lot of fun to make. And, of course, then you have this wonderful food to put out in the garden for the birds, and you bring in all of these birds that you wouldn't normally see, that don't get the shy birds, like the wonderful woodpeckers that are so colorful and interesting, and you bring them in close to your windows where you can really see and enjoy them.
And that's just all put together while we were at the break.
I do.
Okay.
So we're going to make 3 cakes, and what I do with that then is I just kind of put my hands in and I divide it into 3 sections like that, and then just take a chunk out and kind of form a ball with it just a little bit. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit sticky, and it doesn't firm up really hard in the refrigerator, but it does get a little more
your
firm.
idea would be if you made this at home,
right,
you'd make it and then put it in the refrigerator
That's
for
correct.
a while?
Yeah, well, you could, or you could take it right outside as soon as you made it. You could take 1 cake outside because, as I said, the refrigerator doesn't harden it up a lot. You can see how thick it is. It does hold together.
I should say.
And you can take it outside and you can put it in a feeder. I brought one of the types of cages you can use. You could also smear it on a pine cone.
They love that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to buy a feeder. You can just put it on a pine cone and hang that with a piece of twine from a tree. Or if you have a log or something in the yard, you could just smear it on the top of the log. And, of course, the birds would love it, and the squirrels would love it, too.
I was going to say, then you're really inviting.
Yes. All the chipmunks, all the little critters you have in your yard would have a good meal off of that.
Now, you've just taken a portion of that and put it in this container.
And so what this is just your little lunch container, your little sandwich size container. So I think it's about 5 inches square. And that's the size that will fit into most of the feeders. And so you just take a ball and then you kind of flatten it into this container. You certainly don't want to try to fill this container up, but you flatten, just push down with your hands. And then I put, before I put this in, of course, I put some wrap in here. And so now I'm just using the wrap to sort of form it into a square.
So you're just making a cake that will fit into the little...
Absolutely, yeah. Just making a little cake that's then going to fit into the feeder.
Now, if you don't have these feeders like you have over here, what would you put it in?
I would probably, like I said, put it on a pine cone or something like that. Some of the bird feeders, I mean, if you have a deck and you have a deck rail, you could just put it, crumble it, put it out there. So you get sort of a square cake shape, and you just kind of want to reinforce that a little bit, pat it down, make sure that it's nice and compacted, and then I just put it right back in this little sandwich box, and then go ahead and make the next one. But these just stack up very nicely in the refrigerator, and then you have them all ready for when you need them.
So this makes quite a few cakes.
Yes, it makes 3 cakes.
This recipe will make at least 3 cakes.
Yes, so which keeps you in suet for at least 2 weeks, I think, if you're just offering 1 feeder. Here's a cake that I made yesterday. And
it's been in your refrigerator.
It has been in the refrigerator overnight. So I just wanted to show you, this is really there are a lot of different types of suet feeders. There's very expensive ones, but this is just the most basic type. And so it only costs just a few dollars.
But this has the chain on it.
It does have a chain so that you can hang it. So you just want to unwrap your cake and then just put it right down inside of this little box like that and close it up. And then you have the chain to hang it.
It's all ready to hang, and the birds will love you.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. I've shared this recipe quite a few times on my blog and in the newspaper, and I know that the gardeners in Greenville just tell me that it's wonderful, that that it's more successful than any other type of suet that they provide for their birds. And so, there's quite a fan club for this suet now in Greenville.
And so you can just hang it?
Right. Just hang it from a little tree branch, or if you already have a pole that has other feeders on it, you might put a nail there and just hang it from the nail with your other feeders. And the birds will actually come and hang here on this wire and then peck, and get the food that they need. So this because it has the oil in it, it's very high calorie. And this is what keeps the birds warm in the wintertime.
Because when we get a really bad spell, luckily in this part of the country we don't have horrible, but we'll have 2 or 3 days when it really can get, and the birds perish if you don't. They do. And this is better than just throwing bird seed out.
It is better, yeah, because it has it has the shortening in it and the peanut butter in it, so it has a lot of calories in it. They do like seed foods also, and I do offer those to my birds. I have a number of different type of seed feeders, and I brought some seed with me today.
Okay.
So I can show you a little bit. And this is the black oil sunflower seed. I think a lot of people are familiar with the fact that birds eat sunflower seed. And so I have one large feeder that's just devoted to this type of seed.
You just put that in.
Sort of a big all-purpose feeder, and a lot of the birds love this black oil sunflower seed. But another one that's very popular, and the interesting thing about this seed is that the squirrels don't like it.
Oh, well, that is a plus.
Right. And this is called safflower seed.
Okay.
And cardinals in particular really love the safflower seed.
All right.
And
these you can buy where?
Everywhere. Any place that sells bird supplies will have all 3 of these different types of feed. And then there's one other feeder that I keep, and that is a Niger seed feeder. And this one, you see how small these seeds are compared to the others. Right.
Oh, yes.
And this is in particular for finches. And, we have goldfinches that stay here year-round.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of people think they migrate, but they're really here all through the winter. And so this feeder has a teeny little hole, and just the really small birds will eat this type of food. But this is a seed from, from a coneflower type of plant. And so these are the 3 that I use in my garden, along with the suet feeder.
Well, this is wonderful information, and it's something we can do. We can do it with our families. We can do it if we have grandchildren. This is a great project. Turn off the TV and get busy doing something, right?
That's right. It might make a little bit of mess, but then you can have the kids help you clean up too.
Yeah. But when they're grown and gone, this is what they remember.
Yes.
They remember the time that you spent to do something together.
Well, and even though my granddaughter is only 5 years old, she remembers when she comes, that we're going to do these sort of things. She goes to get the stool. She knows which closet the stool is in to pull up to the window to watch the birds. And it's just a special part of our relationship when she comes to visit.
Well, you are such a talented person. And of course, you are a master gardener. So we'll give them some credit. The Clemson Extension Program, you do master gardeners.
I love the Master Gardener program. They do, yeah. I took the training class in 1994, so I've been a Master Gardener now for more than 20 years.
That's wonderful.
And I'm really proud to be involved with Clemson University and the services that they provide to the public.
And anybody can become, if you have the time and energy and the will, you can become a Master Gardener.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to and to think about. If you love nature and you love gardening, then there's never an end to what you can do.
That's true.
And of course, Marion takes people on these wonderful trips especially to England?
You know, I just think England is the most special place in the world, next to the United States, of course. But, you know, they have a wonderful gardening heritage there.
Yeah.
And it really is just a great passion. More than 90% of the people in England garden.
And you go as a tour guide and take people.
Right.
And you've become quite famous for that. You have a following.
Well, I have a lot of people.
How many times a year do you go?
I typically go 3 times a year, and so right now I have one trip on offer for next year, which is going to be in June, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, you give back so much, and of course you write, your articles are seen in the Greenville News.
That's correct, yes.
And I don't know if you're syndicated, but if you're not, you should be.
Well, thanks. I'll pass that news along.
And I thank you for your ability to share with us. And if you'd like these bird seed recipes, all you have to do is just send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Peggy Denny Show, Post Office Box 1616, Greenville, South Carolina 29602, and just say bird seed, or you want the number, it's 876, and we'll be delighted to share it with you. And I know the birds will too. Thank you for coming.
Peggy.
Bless you for all you do.
Thank
for
you.
nature and to help all of us learn. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure.
Marion St. Clair. And you can find her in the Greenville News as well as many other places. Thank you. And wherever you are, just get busy. And remember, there are a lot of little creatures out there that need our help when the weather gets cold. So we need to remember that. And we wish you great joy. And we wish you happiness right now and in the year to come. We'll be seeing you hopefully next time. Bye-bye.